本节目由茂发茶叶赞助播出。
This podcast is brought to you by 茂发。
Welcome back to Stereo English, brought to you by Rich Audio Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Richie.
And I'm Ivan.
So, Ivan, it's been a week since we last recorded. How's your day?
Today's pretty fulfilled. I went back to the elementary school trying to do some more stuff, try experimental teaching, and I really gained some more experience, and I have some feedbacks from the students too.
Okay, so it's not as difficult as the first time?
Yeah, obviously, after the first time that we get to know each other, you kind of understand the student's English proficiency level, and then you know what to do the next class when you're trying to bring up an activity or, sort of like to put them into groups so they can help each other, they can do discussions and stuff.
So are you still teaching PE today?
Oh, yeah. So what we did for PE today is we did a frisbee, or they call dodge disc. So dodge is 躲避, 闪躲, and disc is basically like frisbee 的盘子，所以圆形为主，然后会旋转的，例如 CD 那也是一个 disc， 然后在 in this case 躲避飞盘 dodge disc。
So this dodge disc, why didn't you just use a ball? You have to use this disc.
Okay, so throughout my bilingual PE lesson, not only we get them to be involved in my lesson, so first of all, I try to do much more classroom English rules.
Yes.
For example, I translate directly, like, for example, when we do the warm-up, when you're counting, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, along with you doing the action and them mocking you do the action, it gives them the idea that when you said, for example, stretch your legs, okay, and you do the answer, it gives them a connection between, 所以我现在要做伸展腿，所以 for example 弓箭步， and then they know, that means stretching legs. I know leg as a body part. Yeah, so what I did today is try to get some of the classroom rules in English involved. But there is this one very important tip, which is that when students are starting to, for example, some students are more hyped, they kind of lose control.
Yeah, do you want to tell us what hype is?
Okay, so hyped means like 情绪高涨, or you say 他们比较激动, like physically 他们这堂课比较嗨, 都可以用 hyped 这个字。好, so the point being, when you can't control your class, then the language won't be the first thing you consider.
It's actually the last thing you think about.
Yeah, so in Chinese, 当你的课程无法在因为学生的活泼好动，或者是他们已经lose control， 他们已经可能有一点点失控了，因为体育课嘛很嗨，然后你已经失去对他们的控制跟这个班级节奏的掌控权，这个时候语言就不是你该考量的第一首选，你应该是尽快让班级的秩序恢复。那可能有一两个比较嬉闹的同学，你应该是尽快让他们回归到节奏回归到你的身上，这是作为一个老师尤其是双语课的时候特别要注意的。因为我观察到很多老师他们会坚持自己的英语，但是其实他在阻止那个学生做什么事情的时候，那个学生根本就听不懂你的 instructions。 因为你在这种时候你没有时间让他去吸收学习 ，stop 是停止，然后你现在再叫他立刻停止，那很有可能差这几秒钟啊，体育课嘛，很容易导致意外，或者是像我们今天就发生一件蛮危险的事情。
Okay. Care to share?
Oh, yeah. And also, by the way, I can't see your.
Yes, that's fine. Just ignore
Okay.
it. I have another camera. Just
Okay,
keep
sure.
going.
So today, there is this like bee invasion. I say.
Oh,
One of my students was stung by a
bee.
bee. All right, let me walk you through this.
Yeah, have you
So
seen the movie? What was it called?
bees.
The bees. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same situation. So
Uh-huh.
they are four boys. They are friends, and they grouped together to practice like throwing and catching
Yeah.
the frisbee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and suddenly they are all silent, and that's not normal because they're kind of the more active students in class, and they
Yeah.
are friends, gathered together. So I notice in a very short glimpse of time that something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
So they were all gathered together, which
Yeah.
is also abnormal when I'm telling them to practice throwing and catching.
Yeah.
And so I walk over and say, like, what's up? 发生什么事情? And one of the students immediately told me that, 老师那个同学被蜜蜂叮了。
Oh my
And
God. Yeah.
and I was shocked and also terrified like for 3 seconds because honestly it's the first time I met this situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
我猜大部分的老师可能教学的经验里面都曾经发生过，可能学生嬉闹捣乱，随便离开座位，或者是讲话没有举手，这种事情就是
Every day.
对，这是一个非常常见的事情。但被蜜蜂咬，然后我就停顿了3秒，like 但是在户外，然后我们的国小的所在地又是比较靠山区，所以我很快的就看了一下他的 wound，就是wound 他的伤口，所以it's behind his neck， 在他的脖子后面 ，so it's red like 一点点红红的，对，但没有很肿，但是看得出来他非常不舒服，因为like when you teach students for when you're more experienced as a teacher, you kind of know when your student is actually feeling uncomfortable or they're just acting. You can actually tell by their reactions.
Yeah.
很多老师都会知道，有些学生为了不想要上体育课，可能会不舒服，或者是那个我哪里痛。但我认为一个有经验的老师，遇到这种情况，基本上可以很快速的判断。所以我今天的判断就是：第一，这个同学平常在班上是比较活泼的，他突然变得很安静，表情非常的狰狞。第二个，我看到他的伤口确实是呈现红肿的样子。Okay, so I told one of his friends to take him to the health center.
Yeah.
And then I immediately text the teacher, 教务主任。So I text her what happened in my class and what I did. Yeah, and I think a lot of teachers they seen situations and they try to solve it in class and they report it back to the parents or their boss, whoever is in charge. But a lot of times they neglect the importance of also reporting what they did after the accident happened.
What's neglect?
So 忽略。So basically in Mandarin, 很多老师他们在遇到班级 同学发生一些受伤或者意外的时候，他们都可以很准确的转述当下发生了什么事情，除非那个
Yeah.
老师真的没有看到，但他们通常都会讲说哦，例如同学跌倒受伤了。好，但是对于家长来讲，更重要的是家长想要听到老师怎么解决这件事情。That and point to be，家长也看得出来自己的小孩受伤了。I'm like for example，他就破皮啦，废话，我当然知道他受伤了。但是你作为当下的唯一一个老师，或者是唯一一个大人，你的处理方式是什么？这个才是大家最在意的事情。但这个也常常是老师们会忽略的事情，会觉得哦，我已经把原本的事情转告了，那剩下的可能我就忘记了，或者是有一些人会觉得，这个好像没有很重要啊，我已经转告了我的工作内容。Yeah, yeah. So I think that is also important because in the end of the day, it's about being responsible to yourself, your student, and to your student's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little accident in my class. I told him literally immediately to go to the health center
Yes.
and to get some medicine. And I hope he's all right. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, any other things you did today in the class?
Yeah, for sure. So today I tried. Since my class is higher grades in elementary school, so grade 5 and grade 6,
Yes.
I played some English cartoon videos.
Okay.
So
What show specifically?
It's a very, very old but classic cartoon. It's called Wallace and Gromit. You know that?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
酷狗宝贝.
Yeah, I think so, but yeah, I don't exactly remember the show.
Yeah, you can look it up later.
Yeah,
But
okay.
basically, I try to like share with them this video because it's one of the first English cartoons I've ever watched since I grew up learning English as a kid.
Because television is a big part of my English learning, actually.
Like, obviously, because it involves a lot of learning English by listening and also speaking and also sometimes mocking.
Yeah.
So you try to sound like the characters in these cartoons or movies.
Yeah, for me,
It helps.
yeah, it's because it's fun. The most important thing about learning from television is because it's fun. You learn a lot of things when it's fun.
Yeah. And what I tried to do today is actually quite similar. So
Yeah.
discuss about what we saw in the video by pressing pause from time to time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there are
That's
some
fun.
discussions. For example, uh, what did the man do? He built, for
Really
example,
simple
a rock.
question.
Yeah, so you use simple questions along with simple answers for them to kind of get involved. And the reason we do that is because we don't want to try to make it an exam. 我不想要做成看完影片之后我们要写学习单，看完影片之后我们要考试，会有选择题。No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get them involved in speaking and also a bit of and a bit of thinking. For example, what did the man build? He built a rocket. 他盖了一下火箭. So where do you think he is going? So where is he going? And with a rocket, the students can reply, 他要搭火箭，搭火箭会去哪里？Oh, the moon.
The moon.
Yeah, so they're trying to get to the moon. They built themselves a rocket.
Yeah.
对，那中间就可以有很多的 discussion 嘛。What is the color of the rocket？或者是 Where did they build the rocket？
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so by doing that, you can make sure that first they get to involve in the conversation by doing
You see
oral
yourself,
speaking.
there's a thumbs up, yeah.
Yeah, so they do oral speaking, and then they actually think before. So by doing this, I train them to do oral speaking. I train them to think of the answers. So for example, 他怎么得到这些盖火箭的材料？没有标准答案，and it's not part of the video either. But they get to think. 有铁哦，so maybe 可能 7-Eleven 就买不到这些材料之类的。我只是举例。So 开放式问答
Yep.
have them do oral speaking, and trying to make them speak in English. So with easier questions, I do them in English, but with critical thinking, I do it in either ways, because when we do critical thinking, we're already challenging them in brainstorm.
You don't have to force them to speak English. They can speak English if they want.
Yeah. So point to be is, 我的教学或者是我的问题，我希望我一次可以达成一个目标。我不用希望，或者是我也不要去强迫他们可以从一件事情里面学到非常非常非常多件的事情。很多老师会希望上课时间很短，尽可能的最好就是单字会念、会拼、会读，最好全部一次学会。但很多时候这样子会导致反效果。如果你这堂课可以先 train 他们的习惯可以跟你对话，下一堂课他们愿意跟你对话，然后你再进阶的去问他一些比较难的问题，课程才会比较流畅。但如果你一开始就期待他们要讲很多的话，然后要全部都英文，然后又是可能有一点难度的问题，那对，反而会在短时间内对他们造成太大的冲击。那如果严重的话，可能就会导致学生失去学习的信心。先不讲兴趣，可能连信心都没了，那完全是反效果。
Okay, cool. Yeah, looks like your class is going well.
Yeah, it's going quite well, and I in the end of the day, I hope them like English as a language a little bit more, and try to use
Not just a subject.
Yeah, try to use ways to help them get involved with the language rather than the subject.
Yeah.
And let's hope that we don't have to do too much exams, since it's more of a extracurriculum class lesson. So let's try to make them learn in different ways.
Yeah, to have fun. Yeah, I think the television idea is one of the most important thing there is for you to learn English yourself, because that's how I learned, and I'm sure it helped you a lot. And if you like this topic, we can make an episode about how we learn English with television, with cartoons, and that's one of the things I want to do on the series Stereo English. And I think that's enough for today, is it?
It's probably enough for today.
Well, okay, Stereo English. We're your host. I'm Richie.
And I'm Ivan.
See you next time.